So in this video we're going to look at what is stress and the relationship between stress and dyslexic thinking. We're going to look at stress and visual thinking and the relationship between phonological processing and stress. And then we're going to have a look at dyslexia, stress and learning at work. And we'll finish off with ways to alleviate stress. Now this video will help you complete activity 1, understanding dyslexia and stress, of your understanding and supporting dyslexia in business course. If you don't know the course, there'll be links to it at the end. So what is stress? Well, it's a feeling of strain and pressure that we've all felt at certain times, and small amounts are desired and even healthy, and it helps improve athletic performance, for instance. Excessive amounts of stress, however, can lead to issues with the immune system, heart attacks, ulcers, depression, risk of strokes. And negative stress happens when we believe that we don't have sufficient resources or abilities to cope with what is demanded. Now, it's often based on a personal interpretation and belief, and beliefs are normally dependent on our past experiences. So stress is a particular problem for dyslexic people, and it's even classed as a secondary characteristic of dyslexia. It affects the processing skills which require concentration and memory. So dyslexic people tend to live with a high level of background stress or anxiety. I think there are 3 main reasons why. The first one is growing up as a dyslexic thinker in a non-dyslexic world. This creates a mismatch where you never quite fit in, and it creates a base level of constant anxiety which can be built around a combination of low self-esteem or perhaps little self-awareness, perhaps not even realising that you're dyslexic, and a lack of confidence or a lack of developed coping strategies. So dyslexics can have difficulty with tasks that non-dyslexics find second nature, and we can be drained just accomplishing the basics. So the second reason I think dyslexic people are particularly prone to stress is that their tendency to think visually. And that's estimated to be 400 to 2,000 times faster than verbal thinking. So that visual thinking makes it harder for the person to capture and record those thoughts. And if you're restricted to turning your visual thinking into words, if you can't express it in a visual way, then it could be that you struggle to find and sequence the words in sufficient detail to express the idea. And this increases stress and results in worse processing. So the third reason I think people with dyslexia are particularly prone to stress is phonological processing difficulties. So phonological processing is what you're doing right now. You're listening to the sounds in words, you're adding meaning to make sense. Now, a large amount of concentration is required in order to follow spoken information for somebody with dyslexia with a phonological processing difficulty. So gaps in concentration when we're listening to a conversation can lead to holes in our understanding of the task at hand or the topic that we're meant to be considering. Because of this, we can unwittingly look disinterested or aloof. So that may lead to us disengaging from the task and possible more stress associated with asking, what have we missed? So let's have a look at the relationship between dyslexia, stress and the process of learning at work. Well, I think that one of the main areas of that causes stress is that you may be asking a client who is dyslexic to do something that they would normally avoid. The second thing is that they may be aware of their need for support but not want to communicate that to you. Perhaps in the past it's not done them any good asking for support. Number 3, they may be unaware of their need for support but be generally anxious about learning due to past experiences. A lack of awareness about dyslexia means that few will appreciate just how stressful a situation can be where lots of information needs to be taken in, remembered and made sense of. So the general advice for dyslexic people is to always do something that you're passionate about, and then you will overcome the difficulties that you have in processing and taking in information. The problem is you can't always do that, especially if you're working for an employer, which means you have to develop personal strategies. However, you know, the employer does have to make reasonable adjustments, which we go into in great detail on the course. So you need to have a look at the other section 3 on the course. So let's look at some ways to alleviate training stress in the workplace in relation to dyslexia. And as the course teaches you, the overarching view is to be dyslexia friendly. So number 1, encourage a long view on the task and pick training that will allow a long view on the task and learning over a period of time rather than short intensive bursts that are not repeated. Number 2, encourage a view that perception is not reality and we need to fact find before we decide that we know we can or cannot do something. Number 3, we should be supporting processing differences across the board. We shouldn't be assuming that anybody is keen to read aloud or write for an audience regardless of their position. Number 4, I would suggest that you remove all unnecessary time limits and be generous and creative with the ones that are there, for instance rolling them into lunch or breaks. Number 5, support visual thinkers, which means allowing expression in really creative ways and not limiting a response to being in writing or in words. Number 6, we should be supporting weak phonological skills by producing written information which echoes what's been described orally. We shouldn't be relying only on oral information, but provide a backup for people with dyslexia to look at in their own time. Number 7, support Mears-Erlin syndrome. Many people with dyslexia also have this condition, as you'll know from section 1 on the course, and you'll know from section 3 how to support it. So if you'd like to discuss any elements of this video, please email us at the email address below. And if you'd like to find out more information about the course Understanding and Supporting Dyslexia in Business, which is specifically for trainers, coaches and mentors, please contact us here. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your course.